Hello viewers, welcome back to Daily Retro. Today we're going to be doing a sort of games room update. So as you may be able to see behind me, there is quite a bit going on in the games room. We're taking it apart a little bit recently just to sort of rearrange my consoles. This video is basically going to cover the changes I've made to sort of my main Kallax unit and as to the HDMI wiring in specific for my Wii U console. And yeah, we're going to take you through the whole process, actually filmed sort of wide view POV style of the installation. So if that's not your thing, then tune out now, but if you'd like to see the inner workings of my games room, then stay tuned. We're just basically going to be covering replacing a 2-meter HDMI cable, which, as you can see the Wii U sort of there, that had a 2-meter HDMI cable that did not quite sort of reach my HDMI switch. So I thought it was a good opportunity to obviously buy a 3-meter cable and then install it and show you how I do my wiring, because it's not something you see on other people's channels, sort of how they actually do their wiring. I'm sort of quite anal about it because I work in IT. I like to have everything sort of neat and tidy and have the cable sort of running sort of hidden and down to the ground and across, no sort of diagonals. So yeah, I'm going to take you through that process, and if you've got any questions throughout, just let me know down in the comments. So this is just what's currently sort of my setup. As you can see, that's the RetroTink switch for the RetroTink 5X upscaler. Basically I've got only one HDMI coming from the main HDMI switch, the other one's just in use by a Chromecast, and the RetroTink is powered by the USB port on the TV. And then we've got some sort of neat wiring. The only one that sort of bugs me is the sort of diagonal from the HDMI switch up to the TV. I'm kind of contradicting myself there, but it does, as that's going to be replaced at some point. But you've got a USB power switch down in the corner there, just for powering sort of USB devices, of course. And then you've got the power banks next to it that all have individual on-off switches for everything. So as you can see there, I'm just zoomed in on the two power supplies for the Wii U. So one's for the dock and one is for the actual console. And then as we sort of pan up, this is sort of my neat wiring using cable ties and occasional clips on the back of Kallax. And this just allows me to put both the audio visual cables as well as the power cables up in the same sort of rows. And then we're just going to remove the old HDMI cable from the Wii U, which didn't quite reach. So this is quite a simple process for me, so I sort of just unclip it, undo the Velcro ties for everything, just leave them on the same sort of level so I know kind of where they were. I was trying to do this one-handed, so you might have to bear with me as to the speed of this process today, but yeah, it's a relatively simple process, and it's generally quite easy for me to sort of find my way down because everything is sort of uniform. And then, as you can see there, I've now plugged in the new HDMI 3-meter cable down from the top, and this is now sort of being threaded nice and low down. This means even if I was to sort of bend my head down at the front of the unit, I wouldn't be able to see this wire. It's just an extra step for me, to be honest. I like not to be able to see wires, but be minimalist about it as well. So as you can see, this was more than long enough to reach my HDMI switch. And then as you can see, I sort of use Velcro ties to, if there's any sort of pooling or extra length on the wires, I will sort of make loops. And this is just so I can sort of tell where the wires have been or are easier if they ever need replacing or troubleshooting in future. There's nothing worse than trying to take apart your setup when something's broken and not being able to find the correct wires. So as you can see there, it's just plugged into my HDMI switch. I will now need to go and sort of rewrite that label that I've handwritten on my HDMI switch as to what is what. And then finally, that's just sort of the finished product with the looping sort of tied up. So it's nice and easy to tell what is what. Obviously you will get sort of piles of these pulls of cable, as you can see, but I think that's a lot more uniform than having sort of tangled cables all of the same colour, apart from the Wii U ones, of course. But yeah, it keeps everything nice and easy to handle. And then just for demonstrative purposes, I'm just sort of trying to put the Velcro ties back on. I think these are quite nice because they give you sort of tension on your cables. Not too much to sort of cause damage, but enough to sort of make everything quite sort of stiff and to make those straight lines down the units, as you can see from that clip. So that's all for this episode, guys. Hope you've enjoyed watching that little bit. I appreciate it was quite a short video, but if you want me to cover anything else in my games room similar to what I've gone through today, then please let me know. If you've enjoyed, feel free to comment and like down below, and don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you very soon for another episode. Cheers.